Marnie Kay.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Australia. I've lived in Canada now for about 10 years, I think, a little bit over. And I was the career girl for the most of my life. I started out working pretty young in retail and advanced my way into most recently regional management. I was running Eastern Canada and the US. And after my beautiful mom passed away back in 2011, I took some time off and really started to think about what I wanted my life to look like instead of just this automatic path that I seem to have ended up on, which I think we all start to do when we get a little bit older if we weren't fresh out of the gates, already thinking about that. So I really started to, design my own life. I wrote out a list of the things that I wanted to be doing and where I wanted to be and how I wanted to be working, and it didn't equal the job that I had. I was introduced to some amazing mentors, Bob Proctor and his wife Linda Proctor, and that really opened up this whole world of personal development for me. And this idea that you can develop yourself on a day-to-day basis by the books that you read and the people you surround yourself with really fascinated me. So I started to write a little bit about it. I'd done some writing in university, hadn't ever thought that I could be an author or write a book, just started doing it. And before I knew it, I had a book sharing my story, my journey of my relationship with my mother, and it really tied it all into this idea of belief, which I think today is perceived to be something it actually isn't. So that was the whole idea for the book, Belief is the New Black, which is now republished, and it was a dream of mine.
So, okay, Belief is the New Black, hot title, love it.
Thank you. Came to me in the shower.
Really?
Where all my good ideas come to.
How long did it take you to write that book?
I started it a few years before I actually sat down and committed to it. I realized that what I started out writing isn't actually what it ended up being, which I think, most people who have this inner urge to want to write a book, they do. You maybe journey through a few different avenues, fiction and nonfiction. And anyway, I probably, if I added up the time, when I really sat down and had the vision clear of what I wanted to do, it was probably about 3 months and it was done.
Wow.
So I had to get clear on the vision first. Yeah.
And in those 3 months, what was your process? Like, did you write every day? Did you write on weekends only? How did that fit in?
You know what? I made an effort to write every day if I could, even if it was just something little. I think that's how we get good at anything, is by, applying yourself every single day, even if it's just a little bit of time. But I probably had my biggest spurts of creativity when I had the free time, when I had nothing else on the calendar. And that was really when I was able to dive in. And because my book is nonfiction, it's a little bit of a motivational memoir. I teach through it, but it was also my story. I had to really go inwards and reflect and go back to some of the experiences that I had in order to be able to teach authentically. So it was probably like this. Yeah, but every day for sure.
Well, okay, so tell us more about what the book is about. What can someone get out of it?
So I read a book called The Magic of Believing. And it was a few years ago, and it really stuck with me. This idea of belief, which most people today think is, it is a faith or a religion, when in actual fact we have beliefs about everything. And our beliefs really determine our life, not the other way around. And when we come into this world, we have this imprint stage. It's usually up to about 7 to 10 years old, where we're wide open, and everything that we're taught, everything that's around us, the beliefs of our culture, our parents, our family, our friends, the people we're surrounded by, we just take all of that in and assume it to be true. Somebody else's ideas, somebody else's beliefs from their experiences. And I think it's important that we know that we can change those beliefs, that we can create new ones, empowering ones. Because most of us today, if we don't attempt something, if we don't try something, or we don't do something, it's mostly or often I've found because we don't believe we can. It's like the famous Henry Ford quote: "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." You know, an idea is really what is the foundation of a belief. Most of us start out with ideas. Foxy?
This is dog.
Foxy?
Him or her?
Her.
Oh, pick her up. Let's see her.
Come here. This is Foxy. Foxy lady.
Oh, cute. Hi, Foxy. Hi, cutie. Adorable.
She's all quiet until now.
Yeah.
But,
whether you think you can or think you can't, you're correct.
You're right.
Totally right.
And yeah, so I started to really study this idea of belief, and people understand what it is, how it works, and what to do about it if they're not working for you. And yeah, so all of that is in Belief is the New Black. But I really tell it through, you know, learning to understand my relationship with my mother, because she passed away after 9 months of her and I not speaking. And I really went through a massive depression cycle because I couldn't fix it. She was gone. I couldn't fix the relationship that was, you know, cut short and left unopened. And I had so many questions, and that was sort of the pinnacle experience, because I had to go inwards and reflect and understand why I had these beliefs about our relationship, about her, about myself. And it was really, that was the healing process for me.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So through creating something for somebody else, you kind of went through your own journey of coming to some conclusions for yourself too.
Absolutely. And I think that's what self-expression is for the most part, or creativity. It is doing something for other people, but it's usually through doing something for yourself at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, totally. And I'm a believer in, if I like something or I'm curious about something, there are 100 other people who feel exactly the same way as I do. It's just that maybe they're not acting on it, or they're not investigating. So I may as well do my process and then just tell people about it, and maybe they'll be excited about it too.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, I got to the point of publishing the book and thought, who's going to read it? What if people think my story is stupid? You know, all the normal fears. Right. But what's funny is what I really wanted to do was teach the power of belief through the book, through the story. But what came out of it was so many more fans of the story, the relationship with my mom, and how I healed that. So when I thought I was doing one thing, in actual fact, for a lot of people, I was doing something completely different.
Wow. Now, what do you think is a helpful belief to have? Like, what is a belief that you've developed now that you've concentrated on yourself and creating positive belief systems for you? What is one that you feel that was helpful?
Yeah. Well, I always talk about people finding a mentor, finding someone who has what you want in life, because if you don't yet believe you can, they probably will. And so again, it goes back to the environment. You know, Bob always says you can only really change your life two ways. One is the books you read, and two is the people you surround yourself with, because they're the only two things that are going to create new thoughts in your mind. So first of all, it was finding a mentor, because they'll always believe in you more than you believe in yourself. We're our own worst critics. But I think it was, I'll tell you, it was actually more of a word that started to help create empowering beliefs instead of limiting ones. And the limiting beliefs are usually, I can't do that. You know, who's going to listen to me, watch me, read me, you know, whatever. Or for most people, if they're looking to do something, whether it's creative or start their own business or whatever, there's usually just a big fear that they don't think they'll be successful. So why bother starting? So there's a word that I have infused into my life if I think I can't do something, because there's still plenty of things that I'm met with every day. Oh, how do I do that? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I always add the word yet. So if I catch myself thinking something limiting or negative, or I can't do this, or I don't know how, or whatever it is, I always add the word yet, because that leaves the possibility open that I could learn, that I could practice and get better, and that in fact I actually really can. So that's my favorite word to sort of give people as a bit of a gift to use on a day-to-day basis. Anytime you catch it, it's about becoming aware first, awareness of your thoughts and your how you feel, your feelings, because that's usually the indicator of a limiting belief. But then being honest about it and saying, okay, why do I think that? Is it even true? And if I add the word yet to it, do I feel a bit better about it? And 9 times out of 10, they do.
Wow, that's powerful. So I'm not a billionaire yet. That's what I should be saying.
I'm not good enough. Yeah, I'm not. Whatever it is, yet.
Yet.
Because we're all here to experience and grow and learn, and that's what it's all about.
Amazing. So so you've got Belief is the New Black. Where can people pick that up?
Right now on my website, marniekay.com is where people can buy the book. It's on Amazon too, but if you go to my website, I have a few other gifts on there if people are looking to download or experience some things. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Lots of free stuff.
And also,
people like free stuff.
Yes, of course. Love free stuff. And also, you do other things too. Tell me about.
I do. So I, through publishing my book a few years back, I really, really loved the process and learned a lot the hard way, and spent a lot of money to learn the hard way how to really publish a book, do it properly, and become a best-selling author. And I realized that there's so many people out there today who have always wanted to write books, publish books, become a bestseller. So it really turned into, a bit of an opportunity to help people do that. And today, a year later, it's become an incredible labor of love for me. My publishing house, Meraki House Publishing, and we help people publish their books and become bestsellers. And most people who come to me say, I've always wanted to write a book, but I don't know how. So yet. So that's really the fun part. We get to sit down and work together and create their vision for what they want, and we help them get it done, because the reason I didn't write the book, 5 years ago when I said I started, was because I didn't know how, and I didn't know anyone who could help me, and I think that mentorship in the process of writing and publishing a book was really an opportunity for us to do something really special for people.
That's fantastic.
So that's what we do.
Yeah, and you're totally right. There are a lot of people who have, story ideas, or they write, and they just don't know how to make that next step. They have no idea where to start. So they can start with you.
Yeah, well, and I think books are still so special today. In a world where, technology is quickly replacing so many things, people don't throw books away. No. They don't. No. And so it's forever marketing. First of all, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, if you're a best-selling author, which we help people become, then that title never goes away. So it could do a lot for you if you're looking to expand or leverage your business, or teach or give something to people in a nice, neat little package.
So what should someone have prepared before they come to you?
Willingness to work on something. And some sort of idea. I mean, I've had people come to me with no ideas, and we've created something out of it. So really, it's just a willingness to do it, to get it done. The rest I can help you with.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And would you say that the book you wrote is motivational? It's a bit of a memoir. Do you work with Is it only nonfiction, or do you work with fiction authors too?
Great question. I started out with nonfiction because that's what I knew. But I've had some really amazing fiction writers come through our company in the last few months, and it's definitely like Meraki means to do something with soul, creativity, and love. So I've really tried to not limit us in what field we play, but more, as long as the material or what we work with fits into that category, that we've done something with soul, creativity, and love, then with fiction, nonfiction, we've got a couple children's books coming up later this year, so all really beautiful stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so personal question: who are you reading right
now? Okay, well, it depends what day it is, first of all. Yeah. But I have a few on the go. I actually just opened up a giant Amazon box. I ordered 15 books last week. I have a bit of an obsession. I should be earning money off Amazon or something. But one of my favorites here, I'll give you one that I read every single day, as opposed to what where is it? Well, I think it's beside my bed. Anyway, it's called U Squared by Price Pritchett. It's a very quick read. You could read through the entire thing in an hour. But I like to open it up on a certain day and sort of ask, what guidance do I need today? And I can read 2 pages. And it's a book about how to create a quantum leap in your life. It sort of blows the idea that we have to do everything step by step by step out of the water. And instead, why not go from 0 to 100 real quick? And this book really teaches it in an empowering way. It's almost like a motivational speech or something as you read it. But it's a book that Bob always has recommended as his top 5. He'll go and speak to tens of thousands of people, and that's the book that he'll read from or talk about if it's not Think and Grow Rich. So one of my favorites. Read it every single day.
Now, what is the big deal about Bob Proctor? I've seen a lot of people be mentored by him. I understand that, people want to be close to greatness. And so he's a mentor. He's offering his services and mentorship. But what separates him from a Tony Robbins or any other guy who stands on a stage with a microphone and talks about how wonderful he is? What's the difference?
So, first of all, he has the results. So there's a lot of people out there today talking that don't have the results. So he has the results. He is the most giving human being I have ever met in my entire life. He will give the time, the money, the information off his back over any. And in fact, I listen to everything that he says, but more than that, I watch what he does. And he has been, I'll give you an example. He works with a company who builds schools out in Africa with a friend of his, Cynthia Kersey. So he started out 10 years ago. I think they were building 1 school a month in Africa, his company, which costs about $8,000, $8,000 to $10,000 to do. And his whole goal is to build 1 every day. So he's sort of been building towards doing that. So he's very much about education. He's very much about creating wealth, and he teaches how the mind works. I think there's not a lot of people out there teaching how the mind works. There's like Tony Robbins is also an incredible mentor to a lot of people. He teaches a lot about how to communicate with yourself, with other people, how to have breakthroughs. What I love about Bob, what's different about him, is that he really teaches how we work. And it's only been through his continuous study. He's been studying the material for 50 years. I don't know anyone else who's done it that long, who's had the same consistent results for that long, and does it all by giving. Total grace. So he's a living legend in my mind, and I'm very fortunate to be working with him.
Well, it's an enthusiastic endorsement. All of his students are so enthusiastic, but I'm a skeptic. It's so hard for me to, I guess, believe in people who offer their services as coaches.
Yep.
I'm very skeptical. So,
Well, there's a limiting belief in there somewhere.
There must be. There has to be. There has to be. I know it.
I think that's okay, and you know, it's funny. I always say I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to coach. I'd like to influence people. I'd like to empower them. But I'm not here to coach people, I think, the way that Bob does. But yeah, I don't know. He's one of the greats. He'll be remembered for many, many years for what he's done.
Even coaches have coaches. Psychologists have psychologists. And there are people who make you better at what you do, even if they're doing the exact same thing, but you just need to be, exposed to something different from another perspective or whatever. So I understand that.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I mean, if we had all the answers, we'd have what we want 27.
That would be boring.
If you don't, you might as well listen to someone who does, and they've probably got a few more answers. That's all it really is.
It's very true. It's very true. Okay, so I've got a bit of a game, and it is called, let's call it, Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover.